today's service is accept one another. It's easy to say that as Christians we do accept one another. After all, Jesus loves and accepts each and every one of us for who we are, even though we are not perfect and have many faults. But in fact, accepting one another is not always so simple. We are going to hear the story of someone who became a disciple of Jesus, but because of his job, not everyone accepted him straight away for who he was. One of the books in the Bible was written by Matthew. This is how he came to follow Jesus and then write about him. Matthew had an important job collecting money for the Romans. He was called a tax collector. People didn't like paying him money, as many tax collectors took more money than they should. Matthew was clever, greedy, and he was rich. But being very clever, greedy, and being very rich didn't make Matthew happy. One day, Matthew saw Jesus walking along the road. Jesus made sick people better and told stories about God. Jesus saw Matthew working at his table. He came right over to talk to him.
"Matthew, come and follow me,"
Jesus said. Matthew was so surprised. No one liked tax collectors as they were such cheats. But what would Matthew do? Would he leave his money? Would he leave his job to follow Jesus? Matthew got up straight away and followed Jesus. He became one of Jesus' helpers. Following Jesus made Matthew very happy. Matthew wrote down many things he saw Jesus do and heard him say. His words are in the Bible, in the book of Matthew. The Bible tells us that Matthew invited Jesus to his house for a meal. Matthew also invited Jesus' disciples, some other tax collectors, and others that did not have a good reputation. The religious leaders of the time were called Pharisees, and they couldn't understand why Jesus would eat and spend time with people like tax collectors and others they called sinners. But Jesus loved and accepted Matthew for who he was. The other disciples also accepted him as their brother and worked very closely with him. If we think about it, the disciples all came from different backgrounds and had different characters. Some were fishermen. Simon the Zealot was a political revolutionary, and Matthew was a tax collector. Some were loud and outspoken like Simon Peter, but Thaddeus was gentle and kind. There was quite a lot of accepting others to be done in their small band of followers. And what about us here at St. Paul's? How easy do we find it to accept one another? We are now going to go into breakout rooms, and we would like you to discuss this question. As a church, how can we show that we love and accept each other? I'll say that again. As a church, how can we show that we love and accept each other? See you in a few minutes.